Okay, imagine this. The year is 1998 and you've just gotten in your friend's brand new Toyota Corolla. As he's driving along, you decide to turn on the stereo and this plays. Now, obviously, you turn and ask him, the fuck is this? And without taking his foot off the pedal, he turns to you for a solid 10 seconds and replies with only one magical word. Ween. Now, obviously, after this, you stop being friends with him, because who the fuck drives like that? But that band, its name, its music, it sticks in your head. Ween. What is a ween? Ween is a rock band from New Hope, Pennsylvania, formed by two 14-year-olds, Aaron Freeman and Mickey Marchiondo, in 1984. Their music ranges anywhere from fucking obnoxious penis music to some of the most beautiful music I have ever heard. Like, literally, just listen to this.
Yesterday we lost our lives, tomorrow we were born. Fortune smiled upon us, sacrificed the youngest, all that he might help us see.
If you're a true fucker, the band would form after, quote, the Boognish, a demon god, appeared and offered them the scepters of wealth and power. This demon god also bestowed upon them new names. Aaron Freeman was now Gene Ween and Mickey Marchiondo, Dean Ween.
I met Aaron in 8th grade, I guess, in the high school. I had a typing class in 8th grade with Aaron. He bought a new TDK cassette tape, and we took it into the typing class, and we put the J card, you know, the insert card from the cassette into the typewriter, and we typed Ween on the spine, and then we typed out like 10 song titles on it. And then after school that day, we went home to my house, and we worked from the titles backwards. We came up with the titles, but there was no songs. And at that point, I had like a part of a drum set, and I had a guitar that I didn't know how to tune. We just made this noisy tape, and that was how Ween was started.
And between 1984 and 1989, they released 6 self-released cassettes. I have not listened to them, they won't be talked about. Anyway, I'm going to explain their entire history now. It's a documentary after all, have fun. After opening for a band called Skunk in the late 80s, Dean and Gene of Ween, who were no longer 14, would catch the interest of a man called Dave Ayres. He happened to be working in the A&R department for the independent record label Twin Tone, and he was there to sign Skunk to the label. After seeing them open for the band, he signed Ween alongside Skunk, and in November of 1990, Ween released their very first album. It's called God Ween Satan, The Oneness, and the album was made up of songs they'd written in the past 6 years, some of which were already on the cassettes they released. The lazy fuckers. Not even a full year after release of their first album, Ween would release their second, The Pod, in September of 1991.
And our homemade media festival continues with a band called Ween that actually records on a portable 4-track system. This is Mickey Marchiondo and Aaron Freeman, both halves of Ween.
In 1992, the Ween brothers would sign to the major record label Elektra Records to release their third album, Pure Guava, and this album is where I start liking almost every song on their albums. The keyword being almost, obviously. The majority of this album is still incomprehensible penis music. And sometimes it's just followed by a really beautiful piece of music. With this album would come their highest charting single to this day, Push the Little Daisies. As well as the attention of MTV after Beavis and Butthead featured and reacted to the music video of the song.
Hey Beavis, this guy sounds like you. Shut up, fart knocker.
This attention would lead to Ween performing at MTV's Spring Break, as well as appearing on The Jane Pratt Show, where the duo would perform Freedom of 76, a song that would appear on their next album under Elektra, Chocolate and Cheese.
If you guys want to hear what we're talking about, They're going to do it for you now. Here's Ween doing Freedom of 76.
Ween released Chocolate and Cheese in 1994, and with it the band would start phasing out the use of drum machines, replacing it with the drummer of the now broken up Skunk, remember them, Claude Coleman Jr. The band's longtime producer Andrew Weiss would also pick up the bass duties for this album as well as producing it, and this is probably my second favourite album out of their entire discography. It's an amazing album. Go listen to it. For the music video of Freedom of 76, Ween got Spike Jonze to direct the music video. Spike Jonze, the guy who directed Being John Malkovich, Her, and was son-in-law to Francis Ford Coppola. What? Not to mention, the video has an uncanny similarity to Joker 2. Almost prophetically so. Anyway, it's now 1995 and Ween has approached 12 Nashville musicians to make... What? A country album. It's called 12 Golden Country Greats, and it's a country album. It's an amazing country album. They knock it out of the park. And all Gene and Dean did was record their fucking lyrics. They left the Shit Creek Boys to do all the instruments. It's crazy. They also got fucking the Jordanaires, Elvis's old backing vocals.
The whole album, I would assume, just recording with those people would be really cool.
Yeah. It's great. Lots of fun.
So you guys, they recorded in Nashville with the Jordanaires as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Now that's got to be a trip.
That was a trip. That was a real trip.
Did they just walk in one day, or did you actually hound them? Did you have to?
No, they came. They came willingly, and they came in, and they were the Jordanaires, and they all gathered around a microphone, and they just did their thing.
Now they're on track 1. Is that correct?
Yeah, track 1 and
few, right?
Powder Blue, I guess.
Oh, they do Powder Blue as well.
Yeah.
Then, after touring with the Shit Creek Boys, the Ween brothers would return to the studio to record their next, and most popular album, The Mollusk.
Hello? Hey! Hey!
The Mollusk would be released in 1997 and was themed entirely around the sea. The songs range anywhere from sea shanties to psychedelic rock to Ween's oh-so-beloved penis music. It was described by Gene as their dark acid rock album and by Dean as his favourite album the band has ever made. With it, bass player Dave Drywitz and keyboard player Glenn McClelland would join the band. Following its release, Ween helped 2 projects from Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the guys who made South Park. The song Love for the Trey Parker movie Orgasmo.
Love, it's such an easy game to play.
And the song The Rainbow for the season 2 episode of South Park, Chef Aid.
We're thrilled to be a part of Chef Aid. Chef was the guy who told us to do a country album. No, dude, that was Steve's idea. Oh, then who's Chef? I don't know, dude. I thought you knew him. Oh, well. Anyways, here's our song. The many colors in the homo rainbow. Don't be afraid to let your colors shine.
Parker and Stone would later pay them back by directing the music video for the song Even If You Don't of Ween's next album, White Pepper. White Pepper would release in May of 2000, and it would be their last album with Elektra. It produced 2 singles, the aforementioned Even If You Don't, and the song Stay Forever. Not much really happened around this album except for Ween making an internet radio station called Ween Radio, which sadly no longer exists, and a phone call. But before that, I'm going to force you to listen to the Buckingham Green guitar solo because it's one of the coolest things I have ever heard, and you need to hear it as well. Fuck you. Anyway, back to that phone call. In November of 2000, a marine biologist and cartoon showrunner contacted Ween, telling them that he was creating a show about underwater sea creatures, and that, quote, the Mollusk was a big reference point for him creatively. The show was SpongeBob SquarePants, the showrunner was Steven Hillenburg, and he wanted them to write a song for the show. Now, this wasn't the first time Ween was asked to write a song for commercial purposes, and it wouldn't be the last. Probably the most notable time being Pizza Hut asking them to write a song for them a few years after this. Ween gave them around 9 songs, and Pizza Hut hated all of them, so they said, you know what, forget it. And the only surviving remnant of that deal being, where'd the cheese go?
Where did cheese go? I don't know. Where did cheese go? I don't know.
Anyway, Gene and Dean of Ween then go on to completely fucking forget about the SpongeBob deadline, panic, wrote the song in quote about 3 minutes on my couch, record it and mail it off all in about the span of an hour on Christmas Eve. The song Loop the Loop appeared in the season 2 episode of SpongeBob Your Shoes Untied, and yeah, it's a Ween song.
Oh! Gary! Well, I'll be. You can tie shoes! Hopping clams! How did you learn to do that?
Want to learn how to tie your shoe? It's a very easy thing to do. Just sit on down and I'll give you the scoop. What's that? It's called the loop-de-loop. You gotta take a lace in each hand. You go over and under again. You make a loop-de-loop and pull, and your shoes are looking cool.
This won't be the only time Ween appeared in the show. There are references to the Mollusk album sprinkled throughout the first season, and obviously, where most people know Ween from, Ocean Man, being used in the credits of the SpongeBob movie.
Are you crazy? I was just gonna tell you that your fly is down. Manager, this is the greatest day of my life!
Ocean man, take me by the hand, lead me to the land that you understand.
I genuinely believe that Hillenburg brainwashed a lot of people into liking Ween for including their music in SpongeBob. Ween would create their own label in 2001, Choc-A-Dog Records. Their first intended album would have been the live album Painting the Town Brown, but Elektra, the assholes, held it and released it under their label. Choc-A-Dog's first release would end up being the live album Live in Toronto. And despite this peak in the band's career, Elektra holding onto the record would only be the beginning of their troubles. On August 7th, 2002, Claude Coleman Jr., drummer of Ween, was in a car crash. The accident left him with an injured back, a fractured jaw and pelvis, and severe brain trauma. Luckily, he survived, and upon hearing this, Freeman and Melchiondo organized benefit shows at the Bowery Ballroom in New York City.
Claude Coleman, Godspeed, brother. We love you so much.
During Coleman's recovery, drummer of the Vandals, Josh Freese, would take his place, performing at these benefit shows as well as on Ween's next album, Quebec. Coleman would recover and join the band on stage only 3.5 months after the incident, stating, quote, I desperately wanted, and still do, to escape from Malay's victimhood, and I wanted my life back. After not walking for more than 2 months, I worked my dull legs well enough to get back on stage and perform with my bandmates for an unannounced acoustic show in New York to the ravenous and shocked appreciation of several hundred people. For Quebec, Ween signed with Sanctuary Records and released it in August of 2003. The album is noticeably darker in tone than their previous albums, and this is because many of the songs were written while Freeman was going through the process of a divorce. Quote, I wrote most of these songs right before the end of a relationship. A lot of these songs are about that. Even if it's not direct, you can feel the beginning of the end of the breakup in these songs. Following the show on the 17th of October 2004, Ween's manager, Greg Frey, announced that their upcoming Midwest tour would be cancelled so Freeman could go to rehab. Quote, there is a problem within the band that requires immediate intervention for the health, welfare, and safety of one of its members. For this member, years of touring have taken their toll. This is very sad, of course, but if something is not done now, the consequences could be even more dire than the cancellation of these dates. With that message, the band would take a year-long hiatus from touring, and, in the meantime, they would release Shinola Volume 1, a compilation album of remastered, unreleased songs that would have appeared on earlier albums. The band would begin touring again in October of 2005, a year after they took their hiatus. And in February of 2006, the band rented out an old farmhouse and converted it into a working studio. While there, they would write over 50 songs, record rough versions, and pick through them for their next album, La Cucaracha, which released in October of 2007. As of March 2025, this would be Ween's last studio album, and it would later be described by Freeman as a big piece of shit. Quote, the songs on it were good, or a bunch of songs, but overall, that was a big clue Mickey and I were finito. And I have to agree with Freeman here. This is the only Ween album I haven't been able to listen to all the way through. It's just not as good as the others. In 2008, Freeman started focusing on his solo career and started performing with the Ween band in December of that year. Melchiondo, however, would mostly step back from music, turning his focus to fishing, believe it or not. He became a licensed fishing boat captain and made a web series called Brownie Troop Fishing Show that lasted from 2008 to 2011.
Fuck off.
Both would still perform together as Ween, occasionally for tours, and in July of 2010, Melchiondo even said that Ween was due in the studio that winter to start work on their 10th album, which unfortunately never came, most likely because of Vancouver. In early 2011, Ween started their West Coast tour, and on the first night of the tour, January 24th, they performed at the Queen Elizabeth Theatre in Vancouver. From the beginning of the show, it was clear that there's something off with Freeman. He was playing out of time and out of key throughout the night and was described by Strait as having a hairdo that was a bizarre combination of Edward Scissorhands and Christopher Lloyd in Back to the Future. As Freeman tuned his guitar in preparation for the song Birthday Boy, Melchiondo and Drywitz walked off stage, leaving Coleman and McClellan to perform the song with Freeman. Freeman later wrote the song Covert Discretion about this performance, and in 2014 commented, "You don't blow it on stage lying on your back, screaming nonsense in front of 5,000 people, and try not to change something. Chances are when you're doing something like that, you've got to do something differently." And he did. He went back to rehab for his long-term alcohol and drug abuse problems, but on May 19th, 2012, Freeman announced to Rolling Stone that he was retiring Ween. And a few days later, Greg Frey, manager of Ween, made a post on Facebook saying that Freeman had decided to, quote, end his musical relationship with Ween in order to more fully explore and pursue his solo career. After hearing this, Melchiondo appeared to be unaware of Freeman's departure, stating on Facebook, "This is news to me. All I can say for now, I guess." And on July 20th, stated, "I can only speak for myself, but as far as I'm concerned, as long as Aaron and I are both alive on this planet, Ween is still together. We've never broken up. The idea of quitting is just laughable. This isn't something you can quit. This is a life sentence." The final performance for more than 4 years was on the 31st of December 2011 at Denver's Fillmore Auditorium. Dean reformed his old band Moist Boys, which had been on a 6-year hiatus, and Freeman would drop the moniker Ween, playing solo shows under his own name until 2014, when he formed a new band called Freeman. But
this next song is called Moving Out by Billy Joel.
In 2015, Freeman would begin using the Ween moniker again for live performances. He also did a few Billy Joel tribute shows throughout 2015, which, yeah, you can 100% see. The man is identical to Billy Joel. And thank Boognish, in 2016, the band announced their reunion for 2 concert shows on the 12th and 13th of February. And between 2016 and 2024, Ween would continue to tour frequently. Dean confirmed a sequel to Shinolo Volume 1 was in the works, but at time of writing, no updates on that. They said the first one was excruciating to make, so no surprises there. But things were looking up. Obviously, in 2020, COVID-19 shut down touring dates like most other artists. But they kept going, and as of 2024, 40 years after the band's formation and 30 years since the release of Chocolate and Cheese, they celebrated by re-releasing the album, featuring 15 outtakes and demos, and a tour. Things were looking great, until the tour ended up getting cancelled after only a few shows. The reason stated was to preserve Melchiondo's mental and spiritual well-being, and the band announced that they would be ceasing live performances for the foreseeable future, citing Melchiondo's ongoing mental health issues related to the stress of touring. And as of writing and recording, no word from the band. Now, I got into Ween after they went on hiatus, because of a YouTuber called Noodle, and I've fallen in love with the band ever since. Unfortunately, I got into them after they went on hiatus, so I'll probably never see them live if they don't come back, which fucking sucks. But I'm not going to sit here and plead for them to come back, because who am I to do that? It's not my choice for them to come back. It's solely the band's. And all I can do as a fan is hope that they are happy and healthy and that they come back if and when they want to, because it's no one else's choice. It would be really fucking cool if they did, though, you know?
Sky.